Hello, beautiful nerdy stitchers. This is Mev back for an update. Today is Sunday, November 10th. It's been at least 6 weeks as usual. This is take two. I lost probably 75% of. I had filmed at least 75% of my update before my laptop crashed, so I'm a little bit upset. But let's get to it. I hope you are all well. Today is a grey, rainy, fall-y day in Paris. I hope the light's going to be okay. I hope, yeah, again, you're all well. I wanted to acknowledge first the people who reached out to me in the last weeks to let me know where they live so that I can add them to the world map of Stitchers, which is right here. And so let me just say hi and thank you to cute little Stitcher who's in Istanbul, Turkey. So that's very exciting. There's also Sally in Lansing, Illinois. There's Karen in Ohio. There's Tonya Garrison in Sarasota, Florida. There is Shell Sunflower in Raleigh, North Carolina. There's Gazelle's Needlework in Alabama. There's Biche Nguyen in Hong Kong, which means that I now have a pin in Hong Kong, which is cool. And then last but certainly not least, there's Anna in Trinidad, so in the Caribbean Sea. And Anna had commented on a video like in June, I think, and I had completely missed her comment. Anna, I'm really sorry, but I'm very glad that you are now featuring on the map. So we're now up to 150 names maybe on this map, and that's very exciting, and it's very sweet for me to know that you lovely people have reached out to me at some point. So thank you again. If you wish to let me know where you live so that I can add your name on this map, I would very much appreciate it. Stitching now. I have mostly worked on two projects that you may have seen on my last video and some Instagram posts. The first of which is the Portuguese bird sampler by Barbara Anna Designs, which I started for Leah Aviatrix Stitcher for her birthday sal, which was started on September 23rd. So this is the pattern. It's an awesome Barbara Anna design. So it's alphabets, a quote, and then two crazy bands with a huge bird and little riders, and then two birds and a big flower. This I'm stitching to make a pouch out of it. So the placement, and I'm not going to stitch all of it. The placement is already determined on my fabric so that when I fold it to make the pouch, hopefully I don't get things messed up and it shows the right side up. So basically what I'll do is this band here, this one here, and probably a little piece of a little border somewhere. And so this is where I'm at so far. I'm having a blast with this. There you go. As you can see, it's well underway now. So I started in the middle with the trunk and the two big branches, and then I stitched the huge bird. And then I went on to stitch the flowers, and I recently finished the gentleman rider here, which looks absolutely delightful. With his top hat, his fancy coat. The horse is just so cute. We've got some little flowers going on, and as you can see, I now have to start with the lady rider. And I'm having a lot of fun on this. This is stitched on 1/2 on 40 count, and this is an XjuDesign fabric. I think it's white mustard, and it's very fitting. I find it really perfect for this piece. I really like it. I have converted all of the DMC to overdyed, so there's a mix of silks and cotton, overdyed cottons, and I like it very much because so see, for instance, the blue here. These are Gloriana silks, and they're a little bit thicker than an average like Gast or Weeks Dye Work cotton thread, and so it shows that this is fuller. And this is a little bit grungier, so you can see a little bit of the fabric underneath it, which makes it more vintagey looking, which I really, really like. I'm very happy with the conversion, which I need to send to Liz. Liz, this is coming your way today, I think. I'm going to send you an email with the conversion that I did. If you're interested, by the way, just hit me up by email or DM on Instagram. I'll send you my conversion. So this is where it's at so far. It's very easy, very comfortable to stitch, and yeah, it's really lots of fun. So next up is going to be the lady here riding her horse. I really like this. I really, really like this. So this is one of the projects I've been working on pretty constantly over the last weeks. The other one is my, excuse me, my two cushions for this couch, and I made it to match this fabric here. You've seen that time and again, and so I have picked the insanely beautiful Senoch alphabet by Long Dog Sampler. So here is the original pattern. Beautiful letters. Most probably inspired by Celtic letters and not Celtic letters. Sharon, Shaz Bruce from Ireland corrected me on my last video, which I really, really appreciate. It was just, I was so embarrassed. So this is obviously inspired by Celtic alphabets and not Celtic alphabets. And so I mentioned the Book of Kells because some of the letters here are very reminiscent from the beautiful illuminated manuscript that is the Book of Kells. So crazy, crazy letters here. And so what I'm doing is I have separated the alphabet in two parts. So the first part is 15 letters and the other one is 10 letters. And these will be stitched to make cushions for the couch. I've converted all the colors to match the fabric and this gray, whichever side it is. And so here's the first of the two cushions, well underway. Look at this. Yay. So I've got 10 letters so far. I still need to do one letter here, and then this last part goes, there are four letters left to do. So 5 to go. I love this. I've selected threads to match the this fabric that I have on my couch, and I'm just picking the colors as I go for each of the letters. Let me try and do some close-ups. This insane W here. The H and F are probably my favorite so far. The big, healthy butt cheeks that are the M here. So this is where I'm at so far. I had some doubts on the C here because the white that I use is a Soie de Paris from Au Ver à Soie, and it's extremely shiny and it pops out a lot. And so I thought maybe it was too harsh compared to the rest. I discussed with Leah and she said, well, since you've got some here already in the H, maybe if you want to add a little bit of that white somewhere on the last line so that it balances the piece, maybe it won't seem as harsh once it's done. So far I haven't stopped my thread on the C here so that I can pick it out if needed. But first of all, I'm going to stitch the whole thing. I'm going to add some white here. It's this, it's the letter E that goes here. And I think I'm going to add some white in here and see if I like it. Otherwise, I'm going to just pick out the white in the H and the C and sub it with still a light color, but not as shiny as this. But so far, I'm loving this. I mean, each letter obviously is like a tiny finish, which is very exciting. It goes rather quickly. Yeah, and I love it. I love it. It's really awesome. So this is the first of the two cushions. Let me show you the mock-ups that I've come up with. So the first mock-up is for the first square cushion, So this is what it's going to look like in terms of placement. So as you can see, I still have the P to do, and then E, B, X, and D. That will be the first one. And then the second one will be stitched on a very dark, like kind of wine red somehow. And I'm going to show you a mock-up. It's going to be stitched as a diamond shape rather than a square. And so here it is. So the remaining 10 letters are going to be stitched on that red, gorgeous dark red fabric. And actually the red is like this kind of color here. I don't know if you can see that it's red actually, but it is. And so obviously the letters are going to be outlined not in black, but in a light color. I think I'm going to go for light khaki by Weeks Dye Works, and then pick the same kind of colors that I already have for the designs. So this is Senoch, the gorgeous, crazy, insane alphabet by Long Dog Samplers. Now, I have two starts actually, one of which I completely forgot to talk about in my last update, which the one I called my happy accident. This came because I was gifted a pattern by my mom's local needlework shop owner. I visited her, I think early September. I wanted to pick some overdyed for Senoch actually, and then I ended up finding some really cool threads that I bought, and then she gifted me something. Anyway, so this is the overdyed cotton that I found in that shop, and I really love it. It's just perfectly, like, you know, like when the trees start to change colors. I love it. It's highly variegated from light green to some like browns and burnt orange and stuff. It's gorgeous. I picked out another couple of colors. We talked a little bit because she wanted to know, she wanted to try and get in touch with Long Dog Sampler because she had seen other patterns from her. And it just so happens that the owner of Long Dog Sampler, I think, is a British lady, but she lives in France and she doesn't live far from where my mom lives. And so this Laurent, the owner of this shop, was very keen on contacting Long Dog Sampler to see whether they could organize something, maybe a weekend, a workshop or something, which is really exciting. So anyway, so we discussed a little bit, and then she ended up gifting me with a pattern, which was very, very sweet. And I want to show this to you because obviously I started it, and it's very interesting. So there's this gentleman, it's a French gentleman. His name is Laurent Doussin. He started collecting embroidery and tapestry and fabric patterns from the 16th century. And so he's got like a full collection. I think he's working really hard on just making sure these are just like all gathered somewhere. And with some of those patterns, he actually designed some cross-stitch pieces for them. So he would reproduce those whatever tapestry or fabric patterns and then make them into cross-stitch patterns. So this is the one I picked up. These are called Petits Carrés du XVIe siècle. So that means little squares of the 16th century. So I chose this one because obviously it was just like fall themed. It was perfect for the moment I chose it. As you can see, it's just monochromatic. And I really like it. And so I picked out a fabric that I had in stash, which is a 22 hard hanger piece of fabric hand-dyed by XjuDesigns. The colorway is rabbit. I was not completely bought on the color when it came, but I thought for this piece it would be very fitting. So let me show you where I am at so far. So again, I'm using this thread that I found in my mom's local LNS, and then I started a piece. So this is where it's at. And the highly variegated thread, I think, is perfect for that kind of stitching. And in order to spice it up a bit, I decided to stitch those sort of leaves right here. They're scattered all over in the pattern. I decided to stitch them in another colorway, and this is Adobe by Week Dye Works, and it's just, I think it really matches the overdyed, the original principle overdyed. So this is what I'm doing right now, and I really like it. And what I thought I would do, this is obviously, so again, 22 hard hanger, this is stitch 1/1. And so what I want to do with this pattern is I'm not gonna stitch the central thing here. It's too straight, too stiff. I don't think it's really fitting with the other motifs. So I'm not gonna stitch this, and instead I'm gonna stitch a monogram, a letter, a specific letter, because this is for someone. I had someone in mind. So I have a beautiful Art Deco alphabet, and so I'm gonna pick the right letter and stitch it in lieu of this motif, so that it's going to be just like this border and then a beautiful Art Deco letter. And I'll probably make, I don't know, maybe mount it as a card or something. So yeah, so this is an easy one, very practical for traveling, for instance. So because you've got one thread, one little Q-snap, and a small pattern. So I'm having a lot of fun with this, and obviously it fits the actual weather here. It's fall, so it's lots of fun. Now the last start goes with a story. So let me start with the story, and then I'll show you my start. By the middle of this week, I think on Wednesday, I was working from home, and the mailman brought to me a parcel coming from far away. From the Midwest in the USA. And in this parcel were 3 little packages with cards, with letters, and then a set of instructions that I had to follow without cheating. And this came from the lovely, beautiful, darling Leah, Aviatrix Stitcher. And it was a bunch of little things that she had collected over time, just like thinking of me. So each time she'd see something Stitchy related, or not, by the way, that made her think of me, she would put it away, and then she sent this treasure thing last week. And so I'm gonna show you everything that I got. I'm just it's overwhelming. So much love in one small package. It's just awesome. She knew I wanted to stitch Adam's Menagerie by Tempting Tangles. She's actually stitching it now, and she mentioned the fact that her piece wouldn't be finished before ages, and so she actually bought it for me. Now she knew I had already bought it when I showed my elephant poop, and I mentioned I wanted it to incorporate it on the piece. And so she said, I know you already have it, and so you can give this one away for somebody to stitch it with you maybe. And so this will happen, not today. I need to think about when I want to start it, and then I'll give it away, and then hopefully I can have a twin start with someone else. So let me show you again what the piece looks like. So this is Adam's Menagerie by Tempting Tangles, with a very cool sort of jungle savanna atmosphere with all the cool animals and this huge tree. I love it. And so this is going to be stitched for my youngest nephew, Amadou, who's going to turn 4 in March. I don't think I'm going to have, I will be able to start and finish it for his birthday, so we'll see. But anyway, now I have a twin piece for my own pattern, and I'll be giving it away probably in my next video, we'll see. Now to go with this pattern, I got a gorgeous needle minder, absolutely gorgeous. This African lady is beautiful. It's just beautiful. So this will be used on Adam's Menagerie once I've started. I still need to determine the fabric. I had an idea, and then something came from Leah that made me think maybe I should change my my plan. We'll see. Together with this needle minder, by the way, I've got another one, which I'm using now on the Portuguese bird sampler. Look at this beautiful green butterfly here. So that was the other needle minder, which is awesome because I don't buy needle minders, but so far I've been gifted 4 of them by beautiful people, and so they're with me when I stitch, and I really love that notion. So this was the other needle minder that I got. Now, if you watch Leah's videos, you know that there's a specific fabric she is in love with, and I think everybody should be in love with. I mean, each time I see it on her videos, I'm just like drooling all over the place. And that fabric is from Misty, Luminous Fiber Arts, and it's the very well-known Midnight fabric. I hope it's gonna show. It's just, oh, oh, this is so gorgeous. And so Leah got me a piece of Midnight, and I love it so much. This is a 32 count linen, and man, do I love it. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now I was thinking, what about stitching Adam's Menagerie on that fabric, like a dark evening? I don't know. I have to think about it, but it's very tempting. Very fitting too. So this is the gorgeous, gorgeous Midnight fabric by Luminous Fiber Arts. And she knows how much I love this. I'm so stoked. I'm excited to think of a piece. Although there's another piece I want to do for my twin nieces, and I think I'd be enough. I would have enough fabric to stitch those designs. I don't know. I need to think more about it. Let me see. Okay. Another thing that she gifted me. Oh yeah, and I forgot again. Anyway, she gifted me with a spool of sulky cotton, overdyed cotton. And it's a gorgeous, gorgeous like set of blues, tealy, turquoisey blues, pretty light, but there are some hints of darker blues in there. It's absolutely gorgeous. When she gifted this to me, I knew I had the perfect fabric to do another monochromatic piece, and that fabric is, okay, I'm gonna try and not spoil this. This is Gothic by Picture This Plus. Let me see if I can do this. Can you see this? Yeah, it doesn't show well. So it's a very dark blue with splotches of more like tealy, turquoisey blue. Yeah, you can't really see it, can you? No, it doesn't show the turquoisey thing. But anyway, when I saw the thread, I knew that on this fabric, and it doesn't show, it's really not interesting that way, but I knew I had to stitch something with this thread on this fabric. And so I went in my stash, and I don't know if you remember, but earlier this year I stitched a small French pattern for my godmother. I finished it as a pouch for her medication, and I had a couple of other patterns by this lady. Her name is Gwen, and her brand is L'R de Rien. And these are more like a CZ cross stitch, meaning that you stitch the background and you leave the motifs unstitched. And this little one is called La Mer, which is the sea. And I thought it'd be perfect with the thread. So I started it, 2 days ago when I got my parcel. So this is the pattern. And so I've started stitching with the sulky thread on this Gothic, and I only have a tiny start. Yeah, so see these are more like turquoisey, tealy blues. So I've just started the pattern as it is meant to be stitched, meaning you stitch the background, you leave the motifs unstitched. So this is just the bottom of the piece. So this is the sea, the waves. So far it looks really cool, right? What I'm gonna do, just as I did for my godmother, is, so this one is stitched as it's supposed to be stitched, and then what I'll do is on the area of the fabric where there's more light blues, I'll do the other, I'll stitch it the other way around, meaning I'll stitch the motifs and leave this gorgeous, I'll leave the fabric with those plotches here unstitched. And so I'll have two little squares, positive and negative, on the same piece of fabric, and then I don't know, if it's so small that I might want to do not a pin cushion, a needle book with it. I don't know, we'll see. But I love it. I just love it because it makes so much sense, and it's so fitting. I'll try and take pictures, post them on Instagram, because really the fabric doesn't show as it should. But you may already know of the fabric Gothic. Again, it's a picture of this plus. And this is what did I say? Oh yeah, that's a 28 count linen, and I'm doing half stitch 1/1, because Leah mentioned that this is thicker than one strand of DMC, and obviously I tried doing full crosses, doesn't work. I mean, it's too bulky. So it's half stitch 1/1, because you have to have a 1/1 piece, and so far I hadn't any. So I mean, on small count. So this is where I'm at so far. A little start on L'R by L'R de Rien. I'm really happy. And this is good because all of my other pieces are more like folly colors. And so this is definitely, I mean, some summer kind of vibes, right? And this all goes so fast. So I'm happy. I'm really, really happy. So this is born from another of Leah's gifts. I'm going to get up for a second because I need to pick up another thing that was another treasure that was in Leah's package. So bear with me just a sec. So I have a TV in my living room, and I hate seeing the object TV. By the way, I don't watch TV. I don't know where I have it. But anyway, so I have this TV, and I cannot stand the sight of it. So I have a beautiful African fabric on it, which is this gorgeous piece that was gifted by my sister. All right, I'm hoping you can see it. Beautiful, again. This is indigo blue. Gorgeous, right? And among the many, many treasures that Leah sent me, there's this doily. I don't know, yeah. This doily she found on a farmer's market near her, where she lives. And this doily was actually made by an elderly gentleman, which is awesome in my mind. And so she bought it for me because she said it made her think of Notre Dame's, so the cathedral, the Paris cathedral, Notre Dame, you know, which had a huge fire in the spring, I think. It didn't burn down, thankfully, but it was really, really severely damaged. Anyway, so when she saw this doily, she thought of the rose window, the main rose window on the front of the cathedral, and so she bought it for me. And if you want to go check, I mean, this is very, very indeed like the main rose window in Paris's Notre Dame. So I love it. I don't know yet. I'm going to take it to my mom's and I'll discuss with her what I want to do with it. But for now, the reason why I showed you this blue fabric is for now it is sitting on the fabric. And I think it's perfect, actually. It just, maybe it's going to stay there. I don't know. It's just so awesome. So yeah, that was another treasure gifted by Leah, and the very last one, and I'm gonna try and keep my stuff together. the very last thing I want to show you is a piece that she stitched for me. In last July, I was able to buy my apartment, so this is now my place. I own it, together with the bank, because I have a loan on it, obviously. But anyway, and so as a gift for my new home, she stitched something for me that is so very sweet. And she didn't say anything, and she didn't show anything. And so this was like total surprise. And look at this beautiful little thing. Oh my goodness. It says home. And it's blue, of course. A little tiny bird. A beautiful little border. And she finished it with some fabric which is undoubtedly of African or Asian provenance. It's gorgeous. It's exactly that, like this. And so she finished the piece on cardboard, and it's beautiful. And the lovely thing, in my courtyard there's a huge willow tree. It's really big, and it's beautiful. And I had sent some pictures to Leah because I know she loves trees, and so she actually modified the original pattern so that the tree would be more like a willow tree. And I mean, Leah, you know how much this means to me. It's just gorgeous. And so what I did is, I don't know if you remember, but last year I took a piece of metal and I glued it on my front door, so my apartment door, and so that I could actually put some stitched pieces on it using just magnets. So it's really easy. It's just a square of metal on which I put some white thing like paper on it. And so if I wanna display something on my door, all I need to do is just put it with a magnet. Now, so the day this came in, obviously I had to put it at my doors. So people that are coming in my home are welcomed by this beautiful little piece. And each time I come in, I am welcomed in my home by this piece. And I love it so much. I love it so much. Leah, you know what that means to me. It's just so gorgeous. So very gorgeous. There you have it. I have no idea what patterns it comes from, but I know Leah intended to film some updates talking about this, so watch out for that. I know she recently showed off another secret stitch that she did for Amy Love Toads, which is adorable, with a pumpkin and a toad, obviously. And I get the one with the willow tree and the little bird. And I find it so very sweet. So yeah, so this is about it, I believe. I'm now completely stressed that this whole thing is going to crash again. I think I'm going to wrap it up. It's really sweet and short, and this is good. There is one thing I wanted to talk about, but I'm going to leave it for next time. Yeah, I will. So there it is, ladies and gents, my update with progress on my whips, 2 new starts, and some beautiful heartfelt gifts. And I'm forever grateful for this adventure. I have met people, whether in real life or through emails and DMs and posts and comments, that have become very dear to my heart. I mean, people that I think of as friends, very, very dear friends, and it goes well beyond cross-stitching, and that is absolutely amazing, and it's truly wonderful. So here's to flosstube, here's to cross-stitch, here's to the beautiful nerdy stitchers all over the world. I wish you well. Have a lovely morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you may be. And until I see you next, Stitch well, be kind.